Hey guys, new video here. Recent PoE 1 juicer converted to PoE 2. It took me a while, but I recently farmed up enough money to afford myself a shiny belt, which is ultimately what you're really trying to do in both PoE 1 and PoE 2. And I recently found a strategy that was pretty broken in terms of div per hour, even though it's a really cringe metric. I did a little bit of a calculation here just because I was curious as I was wrapping up farming out this headhunter, what I was actually making per hour. And what I found while doing juice ritual is that even because I would die sometimes because this character really isn't that good, only 4,000 energy shield, and ultimately it's a character based on a terrible defensive mechanic, deflection, evasion. Doesn't feel very good to die in your ritual and lose all your juice, as well as sometimes I'd crash because oil barrage just causes my game to crash for fun. But what I found is that farming these Answer the Kings and Head of the Kings were actually incredibly profitable. And specifically what you're looking for is obviously the Head of the King. These are about 1.7, 1.8 divines right now. You can list them at 2, and throughout the day it'll usually get bought up to 1.9, 2. But obviously, for the calculations she'll show you in a second here, it's about 1.8 listed. These are 1 divine, but again, you'd rather run these and get the Head of the Kings, because what you can do is based on waste to drop chance here, this 90%, you really want about 100 or greater. This 1 on Into the King can actually drop 2 Head of the Kings, which is a really, really, really nice benefit to our currency per hour. And while we're doing all these, Head of the Kings and Cruxes, you're also going to be farming these Jade Isles, which give you Rakyauta's Flow, as well. Sorry about my whoop here. I'm not sure what's going off in the background there. As well as these Patriarch and Matriarch Halls. So these are the quest items that unlock this central city here. And they sell for 4 and 2.5 divine each. And those, similarly to Head of the Kings, are affected by waste to drop chance. So you'll see I have 2 sets of tablets here I'll go through. The top one is what I'm typically looking for when I'm running these. Again, because this is just kind of an Alk and Go, or maybe Alk and 2X and Go, if you will, to make 6 mod maps. We're really just looking for anything gives us more tribute. So you see that bottom line there is monsters, sacrifice, ritual, those going to increase tribute. That's huge. Revive monsters being magic is also huge. You can also get stuff like this, which is adding shrines and rogue exiles, both of which are accounted for tribute in your rituals. There's some interesting stuff you can do on the passive. This guy here, so deadly boss map. These deadly map bosses actually do count for your ritual, whereas the typical summoning circle bosses will sometimes not count. I think it's bugged, but the deadly map bosses definitely do count. So those are nice. And then basically, as well as the Head of the Kings, what you also are farming are some of these Ingenuity belts. I've sold one for 20 divine when it's perfectly rolled, as well as these From Nothing diamonds, which in this 2-hour showcase, I actually got none, which is really unlucky. But these can drop, this one I have Socket My Tree is 45, 40 divine, whatever. But I've gotten one that are upwards of 120, 60 divines. I think this one over here is like one of the most expensive ones, Blackwood Covenant. Really, really nice gamble and fun profit making. Really important to note, as well as the 2 ritual tablets we'll be running, is irradiated tablets. The +1 zone level the irradiated tablets give you is huge. That is because it gives you access to these Omen of Annulments. These only drop in 80 item level 80 plus zones, or monster level 80 plus zones, which is T16s or T15 plus irradiated. When you're running these, I was just running with Jado the whole time. If Doriani's ever gets bug fixed and this works, you can drop the irradiated tablet for another ritual or something else you want to do for fun. But really, triple ritual is probably going to be the way to go there. At the bottom here, you'll see I have another set of tablets. These have quantity of waste stones dropped. That's really the only mod we care about here. I'm just looking for as high as you can get. And that's because, again, they affect the drop chance of Head of the King. Even though you can't use those, you're just looking at the map for Head of the King. But specifically for the Origin Cradles, you're going to want 3 of these, because these get affected by the tablets. So when you have both those, you're pretty consistently dropping maybe 1.7, 1.8 Origin currencies per map. So for example, in this showcase, I did 3 maps total. I dropped 2 sparks from one. I dropped 1 spark and 1 cradle. Pretty unlucky, doesn't matter. They're just really nice because this is 4 div and these are 2.5 div each, which again we'll go over in a second when we get into the spreadsheet. You'll notice here, if I put these back, we did a total of 8 Head of the Kings, because I got, or Name of the Kings, I should say, or Answer the Kings, whatever. I got really unlucky, and then I didn't get a single duplicate head, which is, in my testing before that, I was getting a duplicate pretty much every time. I would expect it to be somewhere in the 1.5 range. You'd average 1.5 Head of the Kings per Answer the Kings. In total, I farmed 8 in 2 hours. That's pretty slow. I was doing more of that earlier, but again, just how it goes. My build's not very good. I die sometimes. I lost 17k ritual favor at one point, but here nor there. You'll notice we got 4 whittlings. This one's split up because this one's technically still in the ritual window. I just need to run one map and I'll pull this out. I just grab this from my own currency, whatever. I'm just going to count it, sue me. So 4 whittlings, 1 of each of the annulments. This is maybe lucky. I would say you're not ready to probably get 1 every 2 hours, if anything, if that at all. But, you know, I did, so I'm counting them. Deal with it. We go over here to some uniques. These are all worthless. This is like a 40C jewel. Who cares? 40x, whatever. I sold one of these for 40x as well, so about 80x total. Going to be counted in the final spreadsheet, but you know, you might get more or less depending on that. And again, those from dust jewels that I showed you in my tree, this guy right here, should really contribute a huge amount or from nothing to your total currency made, but I didn't get a single one from my 8 bosses or 5 bosses, which is unfortunate. Down here, we'll see some stuff that aren't counted. I dropped a perfect chaos orb from a white mob. Not going to count that. Some random rares that are worth a couple divines, whatever. And then a Heart of the Well, which again, not going to count. Just randomly in here. So here we'll go to the currency tab. We see 7 raw divines. That's pretty lucky, I would say. But again, I'm running around with, I think 52%. Sorry, where am I? 52% rarity here, which is pretty good. I might have, maybe you can expect, you know, 4 or whatever. It's 2 hours of mapping. Who cares? You're going to get currency, a couple of fraction orbs from the rituals. That's pretty good. If you're running this on a cleansed area, so I think I have a cleansed area somewhere in here. Maybe if, I'm not sure exactly where it is anymore, but if I look it up, you can see cleansed over here. If you run ritual in these maps, the bosses are way more likely to drop fraction orbs, so it's a nice little bit of currency. When I was doing juiced ritual, I was always running these on cleansed areas. Big fan of that, but again, not too important here. Just some random bubblegum currency that you'll see in the spreadsheet in a second. Jumping into our spreadsheet here that I threw together just to keep track of stuff, you'll see our div per hour is pretty good, about 22, and that's actually using 2.5 hours of track time, just because it takes a lot of time to sell all this. But in terms of actual mapping, it was 2 hours and 1 minute. I went over by a little bit, but so be it. Which gives you, if you actually put 2 hours in there, it's about 28 divines an hour, which is, I think, really good. Not sure what other people are making, but I would say that's pretty good. And we'll just jump through some of the numbers here. So bubblegum currency, and this is mostly just raw divine, about 7 raw divine. Maybe a little lucky, who cares? We look at Head of the Kings here, which is 9 div each, or total. We have 3 Ions of the Kings, which I'm counting as just 3 divine, because I didn't have time to run them in the 2 hours. But if you actually did run them and convert them to Head of the Kings, you'll make more money, which is actually where you get that lucky divs number here. So that's converting the Ions of the Kings, as well as some of those, you know, lucky rares, as well as the Greater Chaos Orb and whatever else, you know, I got that I'm just counting in total. So that's actually the total number of divs I got during this 2 hours was 68. But for all purposes in just the video, I'm just going to count it as 28 per hour, or that 55.8 number total. So there's where that comes from. We got 3 Origin Sparks, which is 2.5 each, or 7.5, 4 for a Cradle. We got 4 Whittlings, which is 3 each. These will go up over the league, I've been told. So these might be worth even more in the future. I'm holding on to mine for right now, but you know, that's a lot of money there. 2 annulments. One was the prefix, one was the suffix. One's 4, one's 5, so I just counted them both as 9. Didn't get a chance omen. I think these are pretty rare, but they're like 8 or 9 divines. I'm not sure. They fluctuate, I think. Mage Blood here, no Mage Blood, no Headhunter, obviously, or I'd be much happier and have some pretty crazy numbers. From nothing, these are that diamond jewels that dropped from the boss. The wiki has them listed at about 11% drop rate. I didn't get any in this 2-hour test, which I think is, you know, pretty lucky, because I think that 11% is maybe wrong. I'm not sure how they got that number. Maybe it's correct, maybe it's not. But previously when I was doing these, I was getting them like a lot more than one every like 10 or so boss fights. But hey, maybe I'm regressing back towards the average by not getting any in this test here. So, and then you just have 1 divine for random uniques. Who cares? Some other random stuff. So, 28 an hour if we're just using 2 hours total time spent. But if you want to put it in more realistic, you know, maybe 2.5, so 2.5 hours here if time takes to sell. 22 an hour is still great. And I'm very happy with that. So I'm going to quickly talk over a boss fight here just to show it off, just for people to help them out if they need. And then we'll go ahead and I'll throw in a map showcase at the end with no commentary, just to have it in there. So I want to do a quick voiceover of the boss killer, because there's some interesting tech that's carried over from the PoE 1 version of this boss. People may already know this, obviously, but I just wanted to cover it. Once you go ahead and kill the first phase of the boss, as you saw me ramping up and doing damage there, you can just log out when he sends you to the maze, and that completely skips the whole mechanic, which is a really nice time skip for doing these bosses here, which again, we're trying to kill these bosses just to drop the heads. So we'll go ahead and log out back to hideout. And because you haven't died, you technically still have a portal. So you can come back in, go ahead and I'm going to ramp my power charge here, don't mind me. But, in general, this boss fight's pretty easy. If you don't have enough damage to phase him as fast as I did there, just make sure you don't move when he puts the red one on you. Make sure, and then move when he puts the purple on you. Yep. So go ahead and kill him here. Again, doesn't really matter. Your own build will look different. This is just me killing it. I'll leave the loot explosion in here, and then I'll go ahead and put just a general mapping showcase with no commentary. And because it's the end of the video for me, thanks so much for watching. I hope you find more mirrors than I do, because I sure as heck don't need them. Bye.